Welcome. I look forward to sharing with you what I did and the steps that I put in place in order to build a life outside of my 9 to 5 and teach you how you can quit your 9 to 5 job. Look, what we need to realize is that absolutely anyone can quit their 9 to 5 job. We can do it quick and dirty. All we need to do is slip in the resignation letter. That's the quick and dirty way in which you and I can do that. Lots of people leave their jobs and a short while later end up right back where they started, sometimes often worse off. And this is iconic, given that especially in today's age, it's never been easier to make money outside of a 9 to 5, to monetize your passions, to create income streams, uncoupled from your actual time input and your physical location, to spawn businesses capable of being scaled. So that's what we're going to discuss today. Hi, my name is Michelle. I live in South Africa with my husband, Anthony. I have a PhD in leadership and management. I have 4 married children and 10 amazing grandchildren. I quit in 2017 my full-time training job. And I had all the free time in the world to travel, to visit my children, because my children and grandchildren are scattered around the globe. And I had to do something if I knew that I was going to see them. And when I was going to see them, I needed 2 things. That was time freedom and financial freedom. And due to my passive income streams, I've managed to successfully help thousands of men and women, mostly women, embark on their financial independence journey and help them move away from that 9 to 5 grind, which has allowed them to find their purpose, their passion, to live outside of what they really wanted to do outside of that 9 to 5 job. So if this interests you, then what I suggest you do is continue to listen to this video, and maybe you can find out 1 or 2 little tricks that I personally have done in order to set myself up for success and to get rid of that 9 to 5 and even maybe that boss that you might not like. Look, I have to realize that a lot of people actually love the structure and the stability, the assurance of that monthly paycheck, even though, or even they did, grind very hard to face themselves and get themselves through that month. Or the fact that they can't just switch off entirely and they can't walk away. The others, not so much. They see the good old 9 to 5 as a giant pain in the you-know-what in making them feel really trapped, imprisoned, and even unhappy. Why don't people quit their 9 to 5 job? No one is holding them captive. No one is holding them captive at gunpoint. But there's so much fear. Fear of change, fear of failure, fear of trying something new. But the truth is, if you want out of your job permanently, it is entirely possible. And it's not rocket science to actually do that either. To permanently live the 9 to 5 job means successfully creating a life and a livelihood outside of that 9 to 5 framework that we all get stuck in. Most people have little work and life experience outside of their job. They spend their lives grinding away all the time up to that point of retirement. So they think that it looks kind of impossible to do, but actually the formula is right in front of them. The formula they may even know. This is the formula that I followed in order for me to fire my boss and quit my 9 to 5 and do what I want to do, when I want to do it, and how I want to do it. And this is possible for you too. Now, all we need to do is follow 7 steps. And I'm going to share that picture with you now. So the very first one, Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. That means, how do we define our success? Where is it that we want to see it? Where is our destination point? To reach a place that's not where you are right now, first you need to define that destination for yourself. Create that concrete, reachable, specific dream vision of your new freedom life. For example, go and cut out pictures, chat with your family and your friends, and make an amazing vision board. Ask yourself the questions like, for example, where in the world would I like to be? What will I love doing? What about what I am going to do will make me happy? What expenses do I need to cover? What's the money target that I need to actualize in order for my dream to come true? You see, when you answer these questions, this gives you specific details and concrete ways of ensuring that you have the money in order to work from where you need to be to where you are today. And what are the action steps that you need to take in order to realize and actualize that you will be able to cover all your expenses, and also make sure that you have got funds for a rainy day. What happens if things happen? So it is all about begin with the end in mind. Number 2 is we need to relook at our budgets. Now, I'm not going to say, and I'm not going to advocate that saving is going to help you into your financial freedom. So please don't hear me say that. What I am saying is that because without the 9 to 5, there's still no knowing when the next money is going to come in. And that is a reality that you and I need to understand. So right in the beginning, the important thing for us to do is to make sure that we have this buffer. In fact, my suggestion, and this is only my suggestion, I'm not giving you any advice whatsoever, try and get yourself into a situation before you leave your 9 to 5 that you have 3 to 6 months of your expenses available to you in case anything should happen. So what you're going to do is look at number 3, and that is, so number 1 was begin with the end in mind. Number 2 is how are you going to save to make sure you put that 3 to 6 months aside. And number 3 is learn to reduce your expenses. You know, one of the most amazing things that would be, and what we should teach even our children, is learn to live off 70% of your income. And then you've got 30% to give back to your community, put into other projects, or make sure that you have money for a rainy day. Chances are, most of us are already working at the bottom line, and we might have to find that there's a few things we need to give up. If your dream is big enough for you and you want to quit your 9 to 5, then you need to seriously look at and say, what do I need to do? Because our program will help you in a 3 to 5 year period quit that 9 to 5 job. But you need to start somewhere. And until you hit the big time, you need to make sure that you cut back on your expenses. Number 4, also the biggest stumbling block for most is how do I make money outside of my current job? How do I create an independent income stream or streams that ideally create that cash flow without me having to work too much? There are so many ways that we can chop an onion, so many things we can consider, like timing. You can quit your job immediately if you want to, live off savings for a while, whilst you dive in completely to building a new source of income. That is one way. Or you can pitch up to your day job every single day as normal, and perhaps scale back a little bit. If you wanted to, what you could do is go from full-time to part-time whilst building your side hustle. You know, that is something that you do on the side that actually is bringing in that income that you need. There are so many ways to generate income outside of our 9 to 5. There's active income versus passive income. There's online versus offline. Most of us probably want to develop income streams that can eventually be uncoupled from the time that we have put in from a passive income perspective, which ideally is also important for our location. What we need to realize is, one, we also want to look after and make sure we have our expenses covered. But hey, who doesn't like to live? Who does not like to go and have that meal in a restaurant or even travel? And more ideally, it can potentially be scalable. What can you do that can be scalable so that it can continue to grow against inflation? So not only are you escaping your 9 to 5, we also want to create wealth as well. Just to give you some ideas on where you could possibly start. If you're talking about offline brick and mortar businesses, mine was a training company, traditional style, for example. There's businesses around provision of physical goods like food, for example, food trucks, cafes, restaurants, or products, design products, for example, like lovely shoulder handbags made of fabric. Maybe you can crochet, maybe you can do some pottery. Even those kind of crafts can help you. Print on t-shirts, make those slingback handbags. There's a lot of things that you could do if that's what you wanted to do. Or you could provide a service instead of physical goods. There you'll be actually teaching, marketing, for example, software development, cleaning houses, for example, cleaning offices. There's a lot of physical things that we can do. However, online ways to make money are pretty much endless so long as one is creative. Like creating a startup business of some sort, engaging in e-commerce, working online if one has relevant digital skills like social media, marketing. Even, for example, you could be online school training, online English, online language training. Where passive income is concerned, most people think immediately by default of passive income streams from money investments. For example, stocks, bonds, gold, cryptocurrencies, real estate. That's just to name a few. There's also passive income streams that can be built through investment of your time. And that is things like online content creation. For example, you could have blogs, ebooks, YouTube videos, online courses, even stuff like, for example, OnlyFans or any form of automation. And delegating your e-commerce business to a point where you're enjoying your dream lifestyle in a country of your choice while simultaneously supplying some products or even services to the world. I mean, if you would like to know what I did to make money outside of my 9 to 5 that has allowed me to create my financial independence, say hi in the comment below and I'll share with you exactly what I have done. Number 5, don't just save. Like I mentioned early on, one needs to invest also. Saving without investing inevitably means that money printing by government inflation and temptation to buy stuff you don't need will make you go backwards financially. But eventually right back to that 9 to 5 where you tried to leave. There are many ways to invest your money. You can invest your money in yourself. For example, if you keep learning and keep growing, that's an amazing investment and an investment I would highly suggest you always continue to do. You must also invest in passive income generating assets like stocks, bonds, crypto, property, etc. We've mentioned those before, but you must choose what suits you best. So your money keeps growing even while you sleep. And that's the most important thing that you and I need to consider at all times. And you'll have reserves in the event of medical emergencies or recessions or crises or any kind of catastrophe that might hit you and your family. And invest continually in your active income streams, your businesses and services. And whatever you're doing, make sure that their profits keep growing. I've said the word growth so many times, haven't I? But you get the idea. So if you've commented below, I personally will get in contact with you. And I'm going to share with you my journey and what I did and how long it took me. In fact, it took me within my 3 to 5 years. And I started with as little as $100. Now, obviously, if you want to fast track, you start with more. But let's chat and put you on that journey. What would a passive income stream of about $3,000 a month do for your family? Now, the time frame would be dependent on what you start with. As I mentioned earlier, I've helped hundreds of thousands of individuals become financially free in that 3 to 5 year period. But their journey started with step one, and that was deciding what it was that they wanted and where they wanted to see themselves. Number 6, you need to understand it's so important to develop multiple streams of income. You want to diversify these income streams so they act as a hedge against one another. Because if you only have one income stream, if it's from one single investment property, for example, you might find that the rental income doesn't come in that month. And if that happens, you will have to replace that tenant's income that comes into your home. And that is how your household will suffer. Now we need to ask ourselves, what are the income streams? So if you and I have a chat, I will share with you the various different income streams that I am using, have used, and how I got where I am today. And the last piece of the puzzle is number 7, do what you're passionate about. Let's tie number 1 and number 7 together. Where do you want to be? Begin with the end in mind. And what are you passionate about? Put the two together, and everything else in between is just a process and a flow that will help you to fire your boss and for you to no longer work 9 to 5, to choose your time, your place, and what you want to do on a daily basis. Maybe you don't like your work or your working hours. Maybe you don't like all the commuting that one has to do and jumping on trains and jumping from stations. Or perhaps you just decided it's time for you to go after your dreams. But basically, what you really want is to find ways to make money outside of that 9 to 5 that's in alignment with your personal values. And also this journey, it may be a long and a tough one, which you're going to be walking down mostly on your own. But if you're clever and you're wise and you partner with people that will help you and keep you accountable to that journey, you will be successful. And it's only the motivation of your first step that is going to keep you in the picture. There's no greater interest or passion fueling this journey, and it's going to be really hard to make it to the end of the road if you do not know why you're doing this. So with all that I've said, if you want out of your 9 to 5, there's really an incredible number of ways available for you to do so. Of course, it's not just about having that alternative money-making route. It's also a function of other things. Like, do you have responsibility to other people who are dependent on you financially? If the answer to that is yes, honestly, it's still not the end of the road for you. It just opens up more questions like, are you willing to work harder to hit that higher financial threshold that you have to meet in order to provide for all those extra dependencies? Are you willing to join in the ride on the other stuff, like living as financially minimalists, saving money, etc.? A lot of times, us feeling trapped in that 9 to 5, it's really less about your personal circumstances and it's more about your personal mindset. Quite honestly, when we look at that feeling of being trapped and wanting to escape, we need to understand sometimes it's a lot more than being about our personal circumstances and whether we can do it or not. It has everything to do with your personal mindset. Are you willing and ready to face your fears about change and failure and trying and not knowing the outcome and going with the flow? Still, if you're not quite there yet, it's okay. And it doesn't mean you have to condemn yourself to this for a lifetime. And it doesn't mean you have to be condemned to a lifetime of feeling like that trapped mouse. Maybe instead of quitting your job, if it's timing you object to, You can just adjust your work schedule to suit yourself better and put yourself in a personal rhythm. Or if it's the environment or the people, try lateral transfer or do a mid-career switch if that's what's going to work for you. Or just get really, really good at what you're doing and then work just for a few months in a year on your own terms. You see, there's a lot of ways to get out of that 9 to 5. Ultimately, I hope that what you will take away from this video is the knowledge and confidence that your life is yours to shape with your action and no one else's. And really, you need to realize the world is your oyster. I really appreciate your support and thank you for persevering through this whole video. If you found this video useful, then what I suggest you do is continue to comment below and I will get hold of you, have a chat with you, and make sure that I put you on a journey of how you can quit your 9 to 5. I look forward to connecting with you. So this is Dr. Michelle Fantonda, and I want to say bye. And don't forget, it's all about you.